Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today to go through the next couple of nodes now for the negative zone with this Harbinger event. Remember, you do have the option to use both Thunderbolts and Vigilante, but for myself here, I highly recommend using Vigilante as they seem to be the go-to team here to get things done. So I made guides on the first couple of nodes already, so I'll link everything below, guys. But without further ado, let's get started here now into the next couple of nodes. Okay, so here we go. This is node 3, and really the challenge with this one is making sure you manage, very similar to the first couple nodes here, key targets that we want to be taken care of as soon as we can, right? So start things off very similar to what we have with the Silver Sable Ultimate. I do recommend actually landing Hitmonkey Stun now actually on Ancient One because she does provide support to the team, so you definitely want to be focusing on her. Now, thankfully, this Quicksilver is actually quite squishy, so we go ahead, we focus on him first, and then when it does get to Electra's turn, her ultimate's going to be able to finish him off right away. And that's, again, we can get the ball moving here with ability energy being granted to our team. That's really been, the bread and butter for the Vigilante team, right? They're going to thrive off of those enemy kills, and then that's how we can take advantage of the snowball effect there. Now, while Ancient One there is, disabled, we go ahead, we just target her, do a little bit of work and damage on that left side. But obviously the big target is going to be the Black Knight to take care of because there's still 12 enemies remaining in this entire wave, even though we have taken care of one of them. And the Black Knight, he can actually retaliate for more damage, so definitely an enemy that you want to be mindful of, especially once he gets charges, he can retaliate. We're going to have Silver Sable special here, so we'll go ahead, we're going to target that left side because we can shred some of the buffs that Black Knight has. But then after that, there likely will be a taunt coming here from Pandapool, so you really can't do much about it. Just essentially try to, extend the debuffs as you see there with Hitmonkey. He just does a little bit of work here and there, and just adding that additional damage there. So now we're just focusing on Pandapool just because there's not really a choice here. He's got the taunt, so you're gonna have to just wait until that fades away, and then we can pivot once again. Yeah, I probably could have saved that ultimate there for Daredevil a little bit later, but seeing as how some of these waves can spawn after an enemy or two is taken care of, so it's nice that we get the immunity and the 2 turns of obviously the defense. The defense up to help out. Okay, and then go ahead there. Usually using the big ultimate from Punisher is able to do a lot of good damage across the board. So now 3 out of the 13 now have been taken care of. In my opinion anyways, I think Medusa is a good target that we want to be focusing in on as well. And now spawns the Super Scroll combination. So this timing right here, guys, if you don't have the ultimate there from Silver Sable when Scroll lands, I think that's going to be the RNG factor where you may have to reset, because sometimes when he spawned and there wasn't a good opportunity to clear out the buffs on the opposing side, I had to reset, so that way obviously it landed on our end where the trauma and as well as the heal blocks stuck on Super Scroll. Because what you want to be ideally doing is once we're in this position, we're going to be able to land the stun, right, and be able to inflict some of the debuffs that you saw there, and then that actually prevents the Super Scroll from gaining any kind of momentum here, which is kind of what you want to be doing, right? Focus on Scroll as soon as you can once he spawns, because he's really the big target that you want to be aiming for in this node anyways. Once he's taken care of again with these other enemies, there is going to be one last final wave here, but remember to save some of the abilities because we still have to take care of this last final wave here. And there's going to be a Black Knight there once again, so you definitely want to be mindful of that as well. So this is probably one of the harder ones in terms of RNG and trying to just get it right. Thankfully, like as you saw here, that's how you want to be essentially attacking it, right? When you have Super Sable's ultimate with Scroll landing, that's best case scenario, and that's kind of why we targeted the enemies we did, because that allowed us to have enough ability energy. And then when you're left with this last and final Black Knight section here with the Iron Hearts, you should be able to use Silver Sable's ultimate one last time, and that's gonna be able to flip everything once again, targeting enemies with low HP, so that way we can generate ability energy once again. And very, very similar strategy, right? It's knowing this Vigilante team and how they kind of thrive. It's a very simple dynamic, but remembering just to focus on the key enemies, but as well as making sure that we take it down the ones that are weaker, so that way ability energy is getting granted for us, and we're ensuring that there's sustainability with this team. Because as you see, right, they don't actually have a lot of buffs, and they don't have a lot of crowd controlling aspects, hence why we need that energy replenishment. Because otherwise, if this team actually wouldn't be that powerful if not for the Daredevil sustaining and heals every time we land an attack on an enemy with a vulnerable. And then again, obviously you see buffs going up again, but there are some short instances that you see where Vigilante may not have buffs, and that's where they're most obviously vulnerable to getting taken care of, right? So that's why we always want to be making sure we manage the abilities of these of our allies, using key abilities at the right time, managing the stuns, because we really only have Hitmonkey's stun, and then that's pretty much it, to be honest, now that I think about it, in terms of just controlling enemies. So there you guys have it. Black Knight was obviously left her at the very end. Thankfully, he was stunned anyway, so pretty smooth sailing, but making sure you get the right RNG here with that scroll, because that's usually where folks are failing. So hopefully this was helpful, guys. Okay, node 4. This is the Kahori node, but you start things off here against a mixture of these zombie characters, as well as Liberty, and as well as just, you know, having a, you know, Lizard, Hercules, just a random mixture of enemies here, to be honest. But, you know, same strategies that we've always seen. This one, you're going to see that enemies are going to have more of the turn meter advantage ahead of us before we can get started. And then it just so happens Daredevil actually is the first one to go on our team, so we activate some buffs there. Silver Sable, once again, to cleanse the positives, the safeguards, and the taunts, so that way we can target who we want to. Now, you're probably not going to have a choice here, because Zombie Jugs is the one that gets the taunt here, so go ahead, use Hitmonkey's ult, because we essentially just want to get some sort of control. Thankfully, those Zugs are not actually that tanky, so we go ahead, use Punisher's ultimate. We're going to focus on Oath here at the very beginning, just because she is a really good target to aim for, because she has some AoE abilities. And as well, we do use actually Elektra's ultimate to finish off one of the Zombie Jugs, and then we use her secondary special to finish off them, just because he's quite squishy. And by doing so, that now has granted ability energy for our team, which puts us now in a favorable position to use our abilities once again. The Lizard's looking pretty good, and thankfully the Liberty team here is not like the fully fledged ones with all the bonuses. Thankfully, they're just a, you know, obviously some of the synergies are there, but they don't have the full team, which is nice. So focusing on Oath once again, she's the weakest one here. We want to be once again just taking down enemies as soon as possible to generate ability energy for ourselves. And then opted not to use the special there for Punisher, just because you really want to be using his special when there's buffs around, so that way he provides that benefit once again to the team. Now this is where it can be a little tricky depending on your team levels and whatnot, because when this spawn wave comes here with the two cohorts, they're going to get a bunch of attacks. If your team isn't built enough, they may very well wipe out a character or two from your team. So that's what I've seen in the past. When I didn't have my characters at gear tier 20, those cohorts could take out maybe one of my characters, and then I would have to reset again and basically wait for the right RNG so that it didn't kill someone. You could also do this in 2 attacks, but now that half my team is actually at gear tier 20, this is why definitely it's a lot easier now for sure. But yeah, that's where that burst damage comes. It's basically a gear check. Okay, 6 out of 12 left. We are going to do a little bit of damage there on the Red Goblin, but obviously Kahori is going to be a good priority target as well. And make sure you stun that Omega Red, guys. He is very powerful in this node. You want to make sure he's not doing any kind of damage, so that's why we landed the stun that we did. And in doing so, now that's controlled a big enemy in this wave that we're up against here. And now, yeah, with all the debuffs that are landing, taking care of the Kahoris and finishing them off. Remember, at this point, if it looks like you're just going to take them out with bleeds and debuffs, save your attacks, because the ability energy of your characters do carry forward into the next node. So that's kind of, you know, always the mindset there. But remember also, when you take down enemies, obviously they give you back ability energy as well. But in this case, because they're stunned and ability blocked, we were in a great position to just use our basic abilities here to clean up. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful, guys. I think these 2 nodes are actually the 2 hardest nodes, next to the Odin node being at the very end there. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for your time as always, and hopefully this is able to help you guys push forward. I'll catch you guys in the next one.